Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
And today we're very excited. We got some Premier League to talk about. We got MLS Super Draft to talk about.
Super Draft.
And some English espionage.
Uh-oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Sam Allardyce back on it.
No, it's not Sam Allardyce.
Well played. But of course, before we get to...
I think the New England Patriots, but...
Oh, we don't say
It's
that
like the English version of Spygate, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Deflategate doesn't really work in soccer.
But see, how I picture it is like a dude with a fedora and a trench coat, very like, you know, cloak and daggery.
right.
Not...
The problem is it's cold in England. That's just normal. You say that's how you get away with it.
I'm just standing on a hill, just with binoculars. Just
Sitting
doing
on
my
a
thing.
bench opposite of someone.
Yeah.
We're both reading papers. Yeah.
You
talking
pass
to-
something sly with paper-to-paper action.
This is all
You
more
just put a briefcase down and then you got up and left and someone came down and
Right.
sat and picked it up and
That's
left.
the game
I
plan
can't
for
wait to get to
Saturday.
this James Bond version of what's going on here. But first, there's beer to talk about.
Beer.
So this is a different setup in that this beer
it is.
is by Ferris and I, because we this past week we went to go check out a new Central Florida brewery called it just eluded me because I was about to say it, I was about to say it wrong. It's Castle Church Brewing.
Correct.
I almost said Church Castle Brewing, and that's not right.
That's not right.
It's Castle Church Brewing. It was an interesting. We actually discovered their beer two
years
Orlando
ago,
beer festivals ago. They had not opened up yet. They actually hadn't opened up this past December, right?
And
they've
I
just
don't know if they've
opened.
done a grand opening yet, have they? Are
I
they
don't
still
know.
in soft opening, maybe?
But we tried their beer there, and they were like, "Hey, oh yeah, there was like part of the Lutheran church. It was a guy who was a pastor decided to switch to open the brewery, but it was like in conjunction with the church, but they didn't have a place yet. So they opened their place. We decided to go check it out, and it's kind of near the Orlando airport. A couple of breweries now over in that area. You go in, it's so cool. It's this big gray square industrial building, right? You just like wouldn't know it. When you pull up, and there's glass doors that kind of have, it says, like, it's like 6 of them, like windows or doors that say brewery tours, church, beer garden, communion.
Yep.
Like, that's
Amazing.
like the different things that happen here. So I don't know what you were expecting, Ferris, but as I was about
I
to
wasn't
go
expecting
in,
that. I tell you that much.
I did. Well, I was like, is it going to have like what is it going to look like?
Yeah.
You open it up, tall, 30-foot tall ceilings. To your left is the brewing area, and it's awesome looking because they've taken shipping containers and stacked them and then cut a window into one, and that's where the head brewer's at. His offices are overlooking everything. The beer taps down in the middle
Are actually on a shipping container as well.
I forget how many taps they had, 14, 16, something like that.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Something like that.
Then to your right is like this chill little leather couches and like coffee tables and sort of like outdoor patio furniture.
and like
kind of
fake outdoor light posts.
Oh yeah, like with
that
the
were
Edison
everywhere.
bulbs in
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Oh.
And then around the other side is this thing they call, and they got like a meeting room they rent out in the middle of that. Then around the other side is what they call the beer garden, and it's an indoor beer garden, except they can open up the sliding doors and the kind of outside. I guess that's where they actually do some like Wednesday nights they sing hymns and have beers and stuff. So it's like an actual part of this Evangelical Lutheran Church of America.
Correct.
I think I said that correct. I'll tell you in a second when I look at their website. They actually have an app.
They do, which is a a lot of breweries in the area don't actually have apps.
And so
They have sites, but they don't have apps.
if you've listened to us, and I think this is one of the reasons this place spoke so much to us, you know that we like stories with our beer and history, and this place is rife with them.
Yes, it is.
So if you don't know Lutheran Church, Martin Luther, way back when, this is the first like split from the Catholic Church, really, and it started the Protestant Reformation, right?
He nails that to the wall, doesn't he?
Yep.
And he's like, hello, this is why your religion sucks.
And this is, well, I think specifically it was like talking about like the corruptions and stuff, and like the charging for indulgences where you can pay me and I'll forgive your sins, that kind of thing. All that stuff's important because it plays all their beer names.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So like
Oh, they have little backstories.
the indulgence ones literally has been brewed to 95 IBUs because Martin Luther tacked the 95 theses on the
Right.
on the what? The Castle Church. That's why it's called
Right.
Castle Church Brewery. So there's all this stuff. They've got a Kolsch that was unlike anything else I've ever had called
Katie's Kolsch.
Katie's Kolsch. And his Martin Luther's wife was a brewer. She was a nun in the monastic tradition of brewing beer.
Right.
So it's her recipe that they have found throughout the years of like the different.
Wow.
So like everything's got some kind of
Drinking
cool
some history.
Yeah, everything's got a cool history into it. And as far as the church vibe goes, there really isn't one. Though there were 6 pews set up to sit in, but they were set up to like chill out in, and we got a shot of Ferris like in the sunlight, like whoa, sitting there having a beer. All because like, he got up from the table. We were hanging out. I was like, "Where are you going?" I'm gonna go. These pews have Bibles on them. I want to go sit on one of these pews with a beer in it. My hand, because I've never done that before.
I've had wine on a few before. I've had,
But we actually ended up meeting a guy. So this was awesome. So we're all sitting there chatting. We're talking about soccer at some point, Premier League. This dude
Go figure.
walks by with his dog. The blonde dude, in his 30s somewhere, He's like, hey, just, 30s. I'm sorry, guys, but I heard you talking. I'm thinking of starting like maybe the match of the day, the 12 o'clock match or the 12:30 match of the day, like showing it here on our projection. He goes, but if Everton's playing, they get priority.
And so, big Everton fan.
Which we're like, and of course sitting at the table is Liverpool fan, a Man U fan, and an Arsenal fan. And he's like, I even let you come if you're red, putting in our Liverpool fan.
That's brilliant.
So like, he was like super cool dude.
Jared, right?
Jared, yes. Super cool dude. And we were like, oh, so what's your deal? He goes, oh, I'm the pastor. Every Lutheran church has to have a pastor. So he basically chatted was telling us that like his basic concept was they were trying to, I guess where he was at, like nobody that was in their 20s and 30s, 40s wanted to give money to like build a new spire of the church or whatever. So, and he didn't like working to try to raise that kind of money. He was like, but it was my job. So they got together and still within the confines of like the denomination, they were like, where can you get to go be yourself? And they were like, a pub. Well, Martin Luther used to preach in the pubs. Cool. So we'll do that. And then what we'll do is make beer so good that it sells makes money, but we're nonprofit. So the younger people would rather give money to stuff that actually does something in the community. So all of our profits will go to go do stuff in the community.
That's cool.
Which is cool because it's like a twist on, if you know your Trappist beers.
Right.
It's a little bit of a twist on that. So
sure.
It's cool because even though this facility is super modern with like the cool, what do we say, the shipping containers and stuff like that.
Very
so,
like industrial, modern feel to it.
It's got a real old school vibe to the old monk tradition of brewing.
Wow.
So it's really cool.
Yeah, it was very, very cool.
So this is different because Ferris and I, we were going to do something we didn't try. By the way, temporarily, what they got on tap right now on a special is their Champagne Brut.
Yes.
That was delicious.
Yes. You had it. I did not have that.
That was delicious.
One.
But every beer we had was great.
They have one of Ron's favorite styles coming soon.
Ooh.
A sour ale.
Ah, you jerks.
But so
jerks. A Ventus Saison coming soon. And then Ex Nihilo Sour Ale coming soon. Those are the two.
So this particular beer we're getting, Ferris and I said, we leave, we're going to get a growler from them. Let's get something we haven't had. But when we were done, we decided we actually had to get a beer we both had because the story is too cool to go along with this.
It was probably the best beer that I had that afternoon.
Just different.
Right. It's not unlike anything that you've had before. So we were like, oh, well, okay, we can get something that we all haven't tried. Or this one has a really cool story. It's different. It's a fantastic beer. We want Ron to try this beer.
Style we've never had.
Right.
Ooh.
This beer is called All Saints. I won't pull it out yet because it's not. It's in a container. It's not in a bottle or can.
It's in a growler.
But it's called All Saints. It's an Einbecker Ale. Einbecker. I didn't know what that was. ABV 6.5, 25 IBU. This says an historically accurate synthesis of wheat and pale malts, noble hops, and blend of regional yeast. Marries character with drinkability, a living replica of the beer Martin Luther preferred with friends and family.
Ooh.
So that's what was
that
cool.
That alone's pretty cool.
This particular recipe, they pieced together over several of his letters and notes within scripture writing.
That's awesome.
To piece the recipe together. Here's the history. Einbecker beer was known as early as 1325 and is said to be the most famous beer of the Middle Ages. So we're already going to go for a flavor that's not
way back when.
It's way back. Available everywhere in Germany and shipped as far as Jerusalem. It began with 2/3 barley malt, 1/3 wheat malt. The style's earliest description states it has a thin, subtle, clear, or bitter taste, has a pleasant acidity on the tongue, and many other good qualities. This is a great summer hot day beer. Tastings of mild citrus, herbal aromas, biscuity malt undertone, subtle toasty quality, clean malt backbone that finishes balanced, slightly tart with a refreshing finish. This Castle Church Brewing Community is pretty cool. And I mentioned to someone else at work fairs that I saw, I was like, hey, remember we ran into you at the beer festival we went to?
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, since they opened, I've been going a bunch. I'm taking a friend who's ever been tomorrow. Like, the beer is so flipping good.
That's
So,
awesome.
without further ado, an Einbecker, which we've never had before, or in a
On this pod, at least.
in a container that I like to call Adult Capri Sun.
Yes, it is.
What? Oh, right. It's one
This
of those.
thing is a silver. It looks like a Capri Sun. I don't know.
It does, like a big ass adult Capri Sun. A silver,
Which is cooler than
handled Capri Sun with a tap on one end of it.
Now, what's cool about this is if you don't open it, it's good at least 3 to 4 weeks. So instead of doing a growler, so we just got it even if we couldn't have done a pod this week because
Right.
we knew it would be safe, right?
Right. So you remember when I went to Norway and they had all those, I was telling you about the pressurized bags inside the big kegs?
Oh,
yeah.
That's that.
Oh, okay.
So
We have to figure out how to,
we're gonna figure out how to do
this.
this because it's this liquid in a bag and we got to pour it out. There's a little stopper at the bottom. So
Do you want?
I'm just gonna let this
okay, hold
record
on. So
live.
you guys
If we
are
all
packed over
start.
there. Do you want to do it over here, maybe?
We all start screaming. We know that this went south fast. You know what? Now that Ron's moved his computer, why don't we just
keep this out of
tight
the
for
way.
a second? Ron, if you'll pass me your glass.
Oh my god! Good Lord.
I'm very excited about this because it is unlike anything else that we have ever tried.
Wait. So did you already peel off the tap? Oh.
It is pressurized.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
it
is.
It is.
Ooh.
It's got a lot of head, guys.
You got to stop. We got to video that.
Hold on.
This
That's
is
beer foam.
This is hysterical.
Wow.
There has got to be the way you're supposed to do this, and we're not.
Holy Jesus.
Does it come with instructions?
That was my favorite thing. The bartender, my buddy, tried this beer and goes, "My God!" And the girl trapped in the bar. She's like, "Exactly." Actually, it's settling pretty quick. It's gotta. Okay, you get a video out.
All right. Yeah. Hold on.
Oh,
So
Jesus.
let's go for round 3 with this.
Hold
thing.
on.
Ron's gonna back up.
Yeah, I got to
Just
back up to
clean
get
up
all this.
beer that spilled all.
Oh my god.
Rolling.
Oh God.
Oh jeez. Like
Okay. Maybe we need to get a little out. This is hysterical. So we're going to do a little half pours.
yeah. I mean, good head retention
Give
already.
me your glass. Yours is bigger than mine. Well, it's Man
Thank
United.
you.
You compensate for something over here. Okay.
Oh my god. Okay. It sprays out. lot of foam.
A lot of sap. See, it's even provided us a good quote from National Lampoon.
This is hysterical.
Is that the only way to? I mean, I guess it is the only way to do it. What were the other two things for?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
I'm looking for is there a thing? Is like a little thing you should open to? No. If you stab that, it would coat this entire room.
I want to turn your ceiling fan on and throw it
I know,
into
right?
it.
Okay, you know what? We're just going to go with a half pint to start with because I think that's safe. And there's going to be comedy through the rest of this pod as we
Do
try
you
to.
think? Okay, so we get a little bit out, and then
Yes, it's getting easier.
oh yeah, it's getting a lot easier. Okay, but it's still it's still
Oh, I'm getting. Give me your glass back.
okay. Yeah,
It's like college in the keg. It's all coming back.
I think
like we had to tap the keg at first, right? Like it's
they probably
have to clear it.
overcarbonated
Oh,
it
yeah,
so
absolutely.
that it sticks around so long.
Dude, now it's like I'm a pro. It's like you're at a pub in
oh
medieval.
yeah.
Medieval times. You knew you had to say it
Oh
that
my
way.
God. There are no utensils in medieval times. Yeah, now I got it.
Oh, it's pouring out nice
Look
and
at
good.
that.
Look at
Beautiful.
oh, lovely. Hold on, Becca.
Look at that.
That's awesome.
That's a lovely point.
I am very excited about this because it's just, like I said, unlike anything else that we've had on the pod, and it's got a cool history. This beer was famous in the 1300s.
And believe it or
awesome.
not, they had these same bags in the 1300s. Got to clean up the bar area over there.
Yeah, I know, like let it when it drips down, I can make sure.
Okay.
Okay, do that.
All right. Do
Look
you
at-
think we're okay?
all
Let me
right.
see if we can get a little bit more in the old.
Don't. Yeah, be careful.
Don't you?
Okay, that was hysterical.
Okay.
All right, gents.
Hold
Where
on.
did you
Let me-
go, Ferris?
I had to go off to go underneath my mic because we have a whole new
Wait.
mic set up
All right,
here.
cheers,
All right,
gents.
Cilantro.
Cheers. Ooh, that's different.
Yeah, it is.
Doesn't it taste old? in the sense of like, you don't have that nowadays super hopped, like things would have been maltier,
Yes.
breadier then. And like I said, the recipe,
It's like a citrus wave
Yeah.
followed by a malt wave.
well, I mean,
But it's all real smooth
So it
and
says-
tasty.
Yeah.
it said that the, where has it got the wheat and pale malts, noble hops, blend of regional yeast, marries character with drinkability. And that, its original recipe was 2/3 barley malt, 1/3 wheat malt. So that's a pretty malty beer. But you just said it, Ron. The tasting is, as listed on their site, mild citrus and herbal aromas, biscuity malt undertones,
Biscuity.
subtle toasted quality.
It's a fun word.
Yeah.
An Einbecker.
You definitely, that's a good description for it, that biscuity quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's unlike anything we've had. The story was so cool. We were like, we're going to do this.
That's so different.
Well, we got to take a trip out and I'll
And
go.
all their
Yeah.
beers were fantastic. They were probably, so far, out of all the breweries that at least I've tried in the area,
As far as each specific beer.
yes, are very good and very unique. They had a Luther lager.
Oh, it was a lager. It was an LPA.
Yes.
It was an Indian pale lager or IPL. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. Luther's lager. This little light of mine Pilsner. I was like, these names are
brilliant.
so great. That Pilsner was friggin' delicious.
Yeah, it was.
The oatmeal
When
stout.
did they open?
I'm going to check. It was in December.
December, yeah. The also, I think I had the hop substantiation
Yeah.
Florida IPA, and that was an awesome IPA.
Everything that we had was really good. Oh, the Doppelbock that I had, that was
I
fantastic.
didn't have that one.
Yeah, I mean, very German. I mean,
What was the
obviously it's
one-
Martin Luther, so a lot of German styles. There was a wheat porter, which I had never had before.
Interesting.
What was the one that we
That was
had? What was the last
fantastic.
pint that we both had? We hadn't had it, but I don't see it on there.
Oh, the Champagne Brut or the
No,
Einbecker?
no.
Oh,
one that we
the
each
amber.
had.
It was an amber
Yes,
beer.
and that's not on their app at the current time, but that amber was real good.
Fantastic. Yeah,
This is awesome.
it is worth, as I said, the pilgrimage.
It's a real dark amber color too. It's not cloudy, so it's got a good clarity. The head retention is crazy.
And you're talking about a place that, yes, we tried them a couple years ago, but as far as getting their facility open, they've only been brewing for a little while.
This is awesome.
And
A
they're,
little bit more there in that.
you want a little bit more there?
Yeah.
This stuff here is good.
Good. Save a neck for me, Clark.
I love this.
Oh yeah, that's pouring real nice now.
The concentration it takes to pour this, just to make sure. Have you ever done one of the little keg barrels? It's like that,
Right.
Right.
Except
but
a little more explosive. I think
A little bit more explosive.
This had a little more pressure in it than those do.
yeah. She was ready to roll.
Yeah, but just like when you tap a keg at first, you want to get out all that initial,
Yeah.
But if you're
foam and
if
everything.
you're flying in to visit Central Florida to go to the parks or whatever, this and Ellipsis Brewing are near each other.
Yes,
near the
and
airport.
I think Tactical's out
And
there too, which we
what's
haven't
cool?
been there yet.
Well, we were talking to the co-founder, the pastor, and then another guy who's kind of their business guy, who's other co-founder.
Right.
Ellipsis, he goes, oh yeah, they're awesome. Go down the way. They're different though. They do like New England styles and stuff. So it's really cool. You got two very distinct styles of breweries that aren't just like, oh, we're just doing what everybody else does.
Right. It's not cookie cutter.
Yeah, these are very distinct and different. So yeah. Castle,
joint,
Castle
though.
Church Brewing.
Castle Church Brewing.
Or Brewing Community, I think. Yeah, Castle Church Brewing Community. Really cool.
I like that they call it a brewing community.
Yeah.
That's pretty slick.
And drop your dollars over there because it's just going to go to charitable causes. They partner up with different nonprofits within Orlando.
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
The surrounding
right,
area.
right. And they're still new and they're still getting started, but the vibe there and that it all goes back into the community is
And the
awesome.
pastor is an Everton fan, which we said, well, if you're an Everton fan, you must actually watch the Premier League because who picks Everton?
We were talking about Stephen Naismith
Yeah.
with him, and then we were talking about kidney pies with Big Sam, and then we were just talking, just going on this huge convo about soccer, and he was super excited. He's like, as soon as we get our projector in here, we're gonna try to have a game of the week or like a soccer Saturday type thing, and
awesome.
everybody can come out, and they would have a perfect viewing area for it because they had this. The beer garden is just this open area with this stage and this projector screen, and in the center of it was this little.
Oh, yeah, it was like their I don't know if it's like for baptism or whatever. If it was just a fountain, but it was it was like a rock that was carved out and then had the water coming out.
Right, and then around that were all the tables and chairs, and then they also had big garage type doors that opened up, and you can go out and sit outside around and look like a little fire pit, but you could also play cornhole and some of the other outdoor type games. So very, very cool place, and about a mile or two away from the airport. So if you're flying into town or whatnot, you can hit up a few just in that area, and Castle Church is
and literally
awesome.
Everything was great. A style I'd never heard of, a Champagne Brut IPA, where it was
I could try this next
noted.
time.
Well, man, they were great.
Wow.
Yeah,
That sounds cool.
nerding over their beers stuff.
I'm checking out the pictures now. That fountain is cool.
We hoped to meet the brewmaster. He was not there, or if he was, we
Correct. We met Jared, and then what was the other?
Aaron. I believe
yes,
his business, or he's
Right.
one of the co-founders, but he's not the brewmaster. Yeah, but yeah, really cool peeps. Highly recommended. It's right at the airport. Just plan your trip appropriately, in or out.
This is cool. I have to check it out.
And this beer, I just liked it. I was like, we got to do it
So
because
different.
it's different than anything else we've done on the show. We haven't done an Einbecker.
This is awesome.
You know.
Well done, gents. Well done.
All right. So shall we move on to the sake?
to the soccer.
All right. So we're going to start with Premier League, like you do if you're on the Brewtiful Game. Where week 22.
Yeah,
There's
kind of
only
flying by.
10 match days left, right?
No, there's 36 games total.
Oh, so 14. Sorry,
Wait, that's not right.
How many games total? I thought-
38.
Let's see if Siri knows.
38 games
like
left.
this. I like
There's
this
38
game.
games in total. So 16 match days left. That's what it
Siri,
was.
how many games are there in the Premier League season?
She ain't
Here's
gonna
a
know.
list of teams in the English Premier League.
Oh, he's got his set to British.
Of course.
British.
You Anglophone.
It just gave me a list of teams. It didn't tell me how many weeks there
Well,
are.
anyway, we're kind of over half. This is what I meant.
Yes. I mean,
Rolling.
there's 16 match days left.
So we are over half, rolling along. So let's start with one that sucked. West Ham and Arsenal.
What happened to Arsenal?
No back line.
Yeah, it's just the same
Ozil's
story.
kind of whatever Ozil's
Well,
doing.
we were talking about this at dinner tonight. There's a Ozil problem because the word out is that Emery wants him out. He does not want Ozil there. I don't know what that means. There's obviously he's not been playing a lot. It makes me think there's a personality. There's something.
It has to be because why else would Ozil start off with a good season? He was made captain a couple of games for them, and now all of a sudden he mysteriously comes down with injuries. He's not on the match day squad. He's not on the bench. He doesn't get substituted in. He doesn't start.
Well, he's certainly not consistent.
No.
And
right.
I think
But what happened?
I don't know, but it certainly seems like you should free him up. You should free up the cash and
Yeah, I mean, if they can get money for him. And I know he's catching a lot of stick because Emery said we're in a position to pick up loans only, not purchase, and January. And some people got really mad about that. But I think they should hush because you shouldn't just spend money to get any available people for your back line if they aren't going to be a good fit. You aren't trying to win this year's Premier League. If you could get into the top four,
That'd
that'd
your
be
goal
huge.
right now, right?
You need to stay in the top six
And have a good run in
in Europa.
yes.
Yeah, so absolutely. But people giving him stick over that comment, I don't have a problem with that. You know, if there was someone that were available that was a top target, but for defense, it wouldn't just be Arsenal going out. But I think that's the right comment to make. Get some loans, but I'm much more keen if the manager feels that he wants to get the right people for the right fit, which I think might be where this Ozil situation is.
yeah,
is
or
going on.
start grooming someone to take that spot.
Well, they've got some. I mean, you know, Rob Holding, young guy, got hurt.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
like,
they
we got
also
some
offloaded Callum Chambers and some others that were there that they could have used at this current time.
yes.
And I think in this particular game, what hurt them, and he came in the second half, but Lucas Torreira not starting the game, I think could have had more of an impact on the West Ham team and really kind of slowed their attack down. And he came in the second half and had an impact, but it wasn't enough for Arsenal to get the win.
It definitely felt as a, if we're going to lose any West Ham fans when I say this, Arsenal lost this game. West Ham didn't win it. They didn't look great either. I mean, I didn't see I'll put it this way. For the roughness that Arsenal had playing, West Ham should have owned that a little bit better. Your damn headline I just read.
It's really the only one that's
great?
worth a damn in this. But
Declan Rice, baby. The arse, too cold. Jeez.
I'll take my bow now and I'll just exit.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
But I thought West Ham actually did have a pretty good game. They attacked well. They were good on set pieces. They got in dangerous positions. And Nasri, who it was his first game back after being on a year's ban for doping, I believe, and used to play for Arsenal, left Arsenal, and is now with them, had the assist on the goal. And I think with the way West Ham's playing right now and the injuries that they have, I think it was a very good win for them. And I thought they deserved the win.
West Ham has taught the children is cheaters win. I got you.
Well, no, he served his ban. He's no longer
cheaters
cheating.
Win.
No.
I get you. No, I see. Yeah, you back. You get to play. You do. Yeah, no, that's fine.
He served his band, and he's now allowed to play. West Ham picked him up.
Just remember that, kids. Well, cheaters win. That's what West Ham way.
Okay. Sure.
Wow, that got serious quick.
It did. I'm not a West Ham fan, but good Lord. Well, and they could use him if reports are true with Arnautovic possibly going to China. You guys see that?
That doesn't seem like a possible anymore because while they have the power to keep him, they don't want to do. Who's that? They just dealt with that with that wanted to leave. So
Pyatt.
Yes. Dimitri Pyatt. Yes, they don't want to. I know, like they technically have the power. They don't want to deal with that again. And Arnautovic is just like, I just want to go to China and make what was the offers
insane amount of money.
It is. It's so insane. It's so, even though he already makes money, it is so family life alteringly high. You got to go, right? I mean, like, it's insane. It's just crazy.
Well, and you're kind of seeing that now from China is they're bringing over a lot of big name players. What is it? Iniesta, who left Barca, is now over there playing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have a lot of people that are going over there and they're getting the paydays because whether you're in soccer, football, basketball, a athlete's lifespan and what we consider to be their working lifespan is only a window of what? 10 years? And that's probably a lot for most. If you're like a Martin Noble or somebody like that, you're looking at 20 years. I mean, there's people that have worked at at jobs for 50 years, for 30 years, for 40 years. You don't have that in soccer because once you start to hit 30s, it's pretty much downhill from there. So collect what you can now, and that's what a lot of these guys are starting to think. I can go over to China, get paid.
It does mean
and be set for
to
life.
Compete with that, people are going to have to dump more money into the Premier League.
So Shanghai, the team in Shanghai, it's a $45 million bid for Arnautovic. That's big. It doesn't sound like it, but for the Chinese Super League, that's big money.
Well, and it's more than he's going to get in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Well, and that's just the transfer bid. Did you say how much he's going to make actually
that's true.
like per week?
What's his actual salary?
I didn't read it far enough.
I think it's still it's insane.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And Dembele is
Moussa Dembele from Tottenham. Yeah,
going to the Chinese Super League.
Yeah, that had kind of stopped that, and then all of a sudden that's picked back up. And
he's a really good player, and I'm sad to see him leave. Yeah. But he in the Premier League is kind of he doesn't have the legs, and he's just been hampered with injuries. So he's thinking the same thing. Hey, let me get some cash now. It's not going to be as bad on my body. I might be able to stay fit, play some games, get some cash, and then retire.
Yeah, he's going to Guangzhou.
Powerhouse that is Guangzhou.
Hey, pretty soon that's going to be like one of the leagues I follow.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, true.
We get those reports in. But yeah, I mean, for Arsenal, this is just more of the same. It's just they don't have a defense. They don't have a defense.
No.
And they were they had a couple off the furniture.
Yeah, they did.
That didn't go in, but
they dragged a few wide.
Yeah, just a little wide.
So I thought they deserved the win.
Iwobi almost had that one.
And Arsenal they need to get their side of things figured out quick. I know they're hampered with injury, but they've had a real big dip since that 22 unbeaten streak game or 23.
Basically with all the injuries.
Right. And they don't really have an easy competition coming up. They play another London rival, Chelsea this coming Saturday.
Well, Arsenal don't have a defense. Chelsea doesn't have a striker. What's going to happen?
5-5 game.
5-5,
Right?
What's going on there?
Well, okay, so Arsenal's next 4 matches. This is not an easy run right here. They have Chelsea in the league, United in the FA Cup, Cardiff in the Premier League, Man City in the Premier League.
So losses throughout.
Possibly.
I mean, I don't know, man.
No,
Sometimes-
losses throughout, and then they beat Man City.
A draw at Cardiff. Yeah. Cardiff could be one of those teams that like screws things up in the end. I gotta tell you, I don't know.
Yeah.
Cardiff with a negative 22 goal differential.
Ooh.
They couldn't find a goal with a road map and a GPS.
Hang left here.
Could you imagine? Turn
Shoot.
left.
Shoot to the right.
Curve ball.
Next up,
You have missed the target.
Again.
we have Brighton
Turn
Hove.
left. Make a U-turn.
You've gone too far.
The destination is on your left.
Turn at the roundabout. That's roundabout. Did you guys ever see that commercial?
The what?
Remember in TomTom, the GPS?
Oh, yeah.
And then one where all the Star Wars characters were doing. And they actually brought in James Earl Jones as Darth, like doing the voice of Darth Vader. And he'd be like, make the turn at the roundabout. And they're like, no, Lord Vader, it's roundabout. That's what I said. No. Can you do it again and say round? And they ends up choking the guy to death. That's what happens.
Oh, okay.
It's a comedy for the family.
Star Wars comedy.
Brighton Hove Albion are at home against Liverpool. And the brilliant thing is, though, Liverpool only scores 1, and it's a penalty, which is a pretty good showing for Brighton Hove Albion's defense.
Yeah. And it
lose.
was a penalty.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
It was a little on the soft side, but it was a penalty.
Yeah, it's one that if they didn't call it, you might go, well, that could have been a penalty. You know,
I when I say it's soft, I mean Mo Salah went down like he weighed about a 64th of what he actually weighs.
because he knew he'd do what? Get him
Yeah.
a penalty.
Yeah, but in
exactly.
fairness, he earned it. He turned that defender inside out, and as soon as he had the slightest bit to kind of get around him is when the defender came in. And yeah, it was a penalty, but it wasn't the toughest of penalties and wasn't, shirt on. So
But it's Brighton Hove
he stepped
Albion.
up and he buried it.
But Liverpool needed this win to keep
Yeah.
the gap. I mean, they
Absolutely, they did.
Yeah.
They did not need a draw. Draw would have been no bueno.
And they also need this one because remember that they've lost the last 2 now. They lost the FA Cup game and they lost against City in the last festive fixtures game. So
The FA Cup to Wolverhampton.
yeah,
And despite the stats, Brighton Hove Albion played a pretty solid,
Dude, they kept, again,
frustrating game.
only
for,
a penalty.
Yeah, for Liverpool.
This should have been this would be a typical 3-0 game for Liverpool, right? And
Yeah.
Brighton
And
Hove
they definitely absorbed so much pressure throughout. And I mean the possession 70% to Liverpool, 29% to Brighton Hove Albion. Like
it's lopsided.
this should have, if this was Liverpool of 6 weeks ago, this would be a 5-0 game.
On the form then and the confidence that they were with, yeah absolutely.
Yeah.
they're going to get that back.
I think this was also that they're playing away from home. They come off 2 losses, a lot of games within a short amount of time. Probably not firing on all cylinders here, but again, able to get the win, which is huge to kind of stay side by side with Manchester City and then ahead of Tottenham as we get down to the last 16 games of the league.
I was kind of surprised that he started Shaqiri instead of subbing him in. Only from the respect that Shaqiri has been one of those players to really
Super sub-esque.
yeah, come out and inject such pace, such excitement, and such creativity into a Liverpool side that it was interesting that he started him, in my opinion.
He did not start him in the loss against Man City, did he?
I don't think so.
No, he started
No.
him in the FA Cup loss, though.
Yeah.
I think, and he brought James Milner on for him. Klopp brought Milner on for him. And I think if that were the other way around, I think it probably would have been a 2-goal game.
Possibly, yeah.
I just think he comes out with such creativity and like I said, such pace and gives such energy to the squad that.
Well, and they actually could use the goals because the goal differential has been upped by Man City now. So
By 2, yeah.
and at the end of the season, that could really, I mean, you could easily have them tied and it come down to the goal differential.
It was an interesting call. We'll see how the weeks progress ahead and see what that starting lineup continues to look like.
Now we're going to talk about not progressing ahead. And that's a little team we like to call Fulham, or as I like to say, we hardly knew ye before you were going back to the Championship League because, woof, they lose to Burnley, who desperately still need goals or to win. They lose 2-1 to Burnley, but that's not really the story. It's that they were both own goals.
Burnley had 0 shots on goal, and they
own
won
goals
2-1.
within 2.5 minutes of each other.
It's so like
It's embarrassing.
It is, and it's so bad. I was so excited when Shirley scored, but it's one of those cursed things in soccer. You don't want to score too early. And they scored in the 2nd minute on a beautiful goal by Andre Schürrle.
Yep.
And then
Former Chelsea.
yeah, former Dortmund as well. And then before 20 minutes had passed, 2 own goals, and just, I mean, it sucks because, yeah, these can happen, and the defender's trying to get it elsewhere, but just luck's not going their way, and bounces aren't going their way, and they just can't help but shoot themselves in the foot almost every game and not score goals. They did it in the FA Cup match. They did it in this, and it's just it's sad. I want to see Fulham do so well.
What's even crazier is that Fulham, by the stats, outplayed Burnley.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's weird. Does Gary Cahill play for them?
You can piss off.
There it is.
Yeah, I just,
As they say in the old country, jog off.
it makes me what's that rule at like Little League, like, oh, they're winning like 10 runs, we're just going to call this mercy rule.
Mercy rules. Yeah. Mercy
I
flush.
feel like Fulham, even though Huddersfield may have less
That's
points,
a great name for a band.
Mercy Flush, is what you said. Even though Fulham has 3 more points than Huddersfield, I feel like Fulham should just be allowed to leave and go rest and just get out. Like, because this is their.
Good night, Watford. We're Mercy Flush.
Well, because like
perfect.
Huddersfield, you're like, oh, this is so sad. Man, they're trying. They can't do anything. Fulham is literally giving goals to the other team.
I mean, and as bad as they've been, they're only 5 points there of being safe at the current moment. So
I think that's 5 points could easily be just as good as 20 points. That ain't 5 points.
it's looking that way,
Yeah.
but they're still technically in it, and they really they gotta stop shipping goals and stop scoring on their own goal. That would certainly help. And
Who's 5 points out?
If they get 5 points, they'd be at safe. It's Fulham.
Oh, okay.
well,
sorry.
they wouldn't be safe because they'd be on goal difference, but I mean, it gets them back up into the argument.
Negative 29.
The worst in the league. They need to stop
Just about as
shipping
bad as
goals.
Orlando City's was this last year.
I think it's pretty close.
Pretty darn close.
And it's only halfway through the
And
season.
we're barely over the halfway mark. Yeah.
Yep.
Ugh.
That ain't good. Speaking of not,
But a good win for Burnley. Another one here in this hectic time. That
Wait a second. You call that a good win?
it's 3 points. That's a good win for somebody that's down there in 15th.
That's a good 3 points to get.
Correct.
And
you
it's-
didn't win that game.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
They just screwed up more than you did.
yeah.
Still 3 points.
Exactly.
It goes down as a win.
It's like
But it's not a good win.
yeah. Exactly.
It's a we won.
we won.
Like this might keep us up.
Ugh.
I mean,
Any win about 15th, 14th on is a good win in my book, but it's 3 points.
well, speaking of that, you know what's not good? To be Cardiff City and Huddersfield playing each other, going, God, one of us has got to get 3 points, and you don't.
Yep.
You both get a point, which is not a good point to get because you need points on this other club.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're not separating yourselves at all.
No.
Well, Huddersfield is. They're just separating themselves further down the
bottom.
table. Yeah.
And in Cardiff, yes. So they're out of safety at the moment, but Lord knows that's not a safe place that they're sitting at. Especially with Newcastle below them. Newcastle could easily get out of that. That's although maybe not. I don't know. They keep waiting for that turnaround too, and that hasn't turned around.
All the way up to Palace is really, they're in the from Palace down in 14th. They are all in a relegation battle at the current moment.
Yeah, it's definitely the battle for the bottom.
But Cardiff City goes out there and they freaking go for it. They try.
Yep.
Fulham just does not.
Zero shots on target.
From both clubs. Guys, we might have figured out the crux of their situation.
Nobody can score for either of them.
No. It's pretty awful. And then, of course, this leads to the coach from Huddersfield parting ways, mutually agreed. And the club president actually came out and said, that's always a phrase batted around, but it's actually true. We'd already talked about it, saying he'd be happy to stay through the season. That's what we were going to do. And then he decided, I think I'd rather go earlier, but it's a mutual, he goes, he kept saying over and over, I was not looking to sack him. I was not looking to sack David at this point. It's not what I want to do. So,
well, and
why do you think
David came out beforehand and was like, this is a must-win game? He put it on him like, we need to win this game. And they didn't.
And if there was a game you could have won, this is it.
Exactly. It's kind of nail in the coffin time, I feel like, for Huddersfield, which I think is why he left. I don't know what he's going to go do.
I mean, he'll return to coaching, whether it's in England or back in Germany or possibly even here in the States. What is Huddersfield going to do? Who are they going to bring in that gets them that bounce and hopefully a bounce up above that red line? Is there anybody you can go after
that's
right
an
now?
8-point ask.
I think you bring in
anybody.
No.
Who do you bring in?
Point, you're bringing in someone that you think will ride with you to the Championship League to try and get you back in. I think
Big Sam.
This is done. This is done.
Big Sam.
This is done. They know it's
This
done.
seems like it's a Big Sam, case.
That seems like hopeless to me. They're done. I think you find someone like I said, that'll ride with you on the way down and try to get you back up. And I don't know who that's going to be right now.
Nope. And how fast are you going to find it? Because they have a really tough schedule up ahead. So.
Yes, they do. Next up, we got Crystal Palace. Speaking of more own goals, against Watford. Watford away wins 2-1.
Don't look now, but Watford's up to 7th in the league.
Yeah, man.
Quietly creeping up very slowly.
They've been
steady all year.
They are this year's Everton. They're going to get that 7th spot.
They are this year's Burnley.
I guess really it would be Burnley.
Yeah.
And that's very true.
But a good match.
Always nicely, cleverly get one in.
Yeah, cleverly, a very nice goal.
Good volley there.
The own goal, he actually gets
Craig
2 goals.
Cathcart.
He actually gets
Craig Cathcart.
2 goals. He provides the first goal, but for
He made up for it.
And they made up for it.
Right? He breaks even.
Yeah, drew even and then cleverly nets one in.
And their own goal was really messy in front of goal, bouncing around off a corner and just kind of stumbled across the line. He checked the watch, and it's a goal.
Yeah. And it was by a bit, although, again, hard to tell when the keeper is diving backwards and swats it out with a big old paw. In real time, it really didn't look like a goal.
Right, but that's the thing. That we talked about it was a last pod. That goal line decision system,
is perfect. It's great.
Everything that there is no doubt anymore.
And like you said, Watford kind of being quietly good. They started the season very strong, had a slip, and are creeping back up.
But they're getting wins.
Speaking of creeping up, this next winning team.
Ain't no creeping up, man. I told you with that new coach, it was on the way, man. This dude thing, I felt good about Southampton.
He's like,
say his name.
Who?
It's the name you can say, but you can't say Pulisic.
No, you try to say it.
What's their coach's name?
I don't even know if I can say it. Ralph Husenhudel. I think
it sounds like a German dessert.
I'll take a side of Husenhudel.
Or it sounds like a German dog.
I would like the French vanilla Husenhudel.
I don't think I'm saying it right, to be honest with you. It's her.
I'll take the Husenhudel on the side.
Can I take the Husenhudel to go?
The side of worst. The Ralph Husenhudel.
Of course, we are talking about Leicester City versus Southampton.
Husenhudel.
And Southampton comes away 2-1.
Man, and since they have changed coaches, they've been very different. He has been playing them to the strengths he had. He's inherited the team.
Yeah.
And making them play as good as they can play. And I think that's going to be enough to keep them safe.
Yeah, and Shane Long with a goal in this. Interesting stat was being tossed around this past week. Shane Long in his last 4 goals, all of which have come under different managers, but with Southampton. So every goal has been scored with somebody else that was in place.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
Right. But he's been scoring, not Charlie Adams, Charlie, oh God. Whatever.
You think they call him Ralph or Coach Hosenhoodle in practice?
Probably just call him
Ralph?
Gaffa or
I'm going to go with Ralph.
the boss.
Because then it's like Christmas Story over there.
Hosenhoodle. But yeah, he has them playing, and he's turned them around. They haven't won all of their games since he's been on board, but the style of play, they've been defending better, and they've also been putting balls on net, and that's what Shane Long did. He got a goal. It was probably going wide, but the big hand of Schmeichel kind of brought it back in, and it was a goal, and they carried through, even being down a man in this.
Yeah.
They went down really late in the first half. They went down and then scored to go in 2-0 up with a man down.
Yeah. And I think this coach or this manager is doing kind of a similar thing to what Manchester United's coach is doing. He's just setting them up to have fun. The team looks so different when they're playing. They look like they're having fun. They look like they're trying harder. There looks like a sense of they look like much more of a team than they did a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much different about the Southampton side. And I think the best thing an interim manager can do or a new manager can do is just let them go have fun and let them figure it out and then start managing them, because this kind of thing seems to be the result, and they're doing great now. I mean, they still got a way to go, but they're climbing.
I feel much better about them than I do anybody below them.
Yeah. I would probably say that.
You got Cardiff City, Newcastle, Fulham, and Huddersfield below them. And right now, Newcastle, I always said, well, they'll be fine. I don't know if I believe that. Speaking of which, I guess that was a good segue. They lose as they go to visit Chelsea. They lose 2-1. Not that I guess that's a shocker that Newcastle loses to Chelsea, but it's just,
they should have lost to Chelsea.
Not the best of wins for Chelsea, though.
No, that was a bit of a struggle.
That was another one of those we won. Not quite as bad as getting 2 own goals, but yeah.
I think that one was more like, oh, we won.
Yeah.
Because, man, I see some epic changes coming soon for Chelsea.
Like the way
and your 2 goal scorers are the ones that could be changing.
Yeah, I don't really. I think everything is hype about Pedro leaving.
We called it last pod. Pedro's leaving.
And
I think both of them are gone.
I think William.
You never saw such a Pedro leave so fast. You're always a wiener.
Chili today, Pedro tomorrow.
It's tamale.
Whatever. Oh yeah, it's
I
right
love
here.
ours. We still have so much south of the border crap all over this
Punchline
pod.
scramble from south of the border. Yeah, the Chelsea side really needs to sort themselves out. They're hurting themselves on the attacking side by not having an out-and-out striker that can essentially
pour you.
You saw what I did. I tried to pour it, but I left the.
He left a little cap on the bottom of the spout,
geez.
and that was about to go everywhere.
It's like, why is it? Oh no! Okay, we're okay. We're okay here.
We're all fine down here. How are you? The Chelsea side's really hurting themselves by not having an out-and-out striker, putting our attacking strength isn't doing well with Hazard playing that number 9 role. He's not an out-and-out striker, and we need one. So if you can pretty much clog up the midfield and you take the ball away from Hazard, you've got the keys to winning Chelsea or to beating Chelsea. So I think Willian is not happy. He's going to go. He scored that goal and barely cracked a smile, had a momentary celebration, and then returned to the scowl. So I don't really think he's going to stick around very much.
Yeah, and he's currently batting away the are you going, where are you going type stuff, which is what he should be doing at this time. But the question is, who do you guys bring in? I know you're trying to work out a loan deal or something for Higuain.
Right.
You recalled Batshuayi back. So,
and he doesn't want to come
No,
back.
I'd say, yeah, that's a whole thing too. Yeah,
And he's still mad because we let him go in the first place.
like, so who do you bring in to help you with your front nine? With your center forward here, because you're right. I think Hazard's more of a threat when he can either sit behind that number 9 or play off to the wing and cut in.
Correct.
Because he can create more and he can get more into channels, and he causes defenses more of a concern. Because now we're worrying about. If you think back to the Costa years, you had to try to worry about both of them, and worrying about both of them and having to defend both proved very hard because Costa's this big brute in force, and if you try to double him or you try to really put a focus on him, Hazard's going to do a little feet trick and move all around and open up space for himself, or you're going to want to go towards him, which then opens up space for Costa. So
Yeah.
you don't have any because Morata's not really having a threat on defenses at the current time.
Right.
Giroud doesn't have a threat because everybody just looks, oh my God, he's beautiful, and they don't feel like defending him. Like, so
he doesn't feel like scoring. He's really good at pulling defenders,
he's a hold up player. Like, he can hold the ball up very well.
but he's just not finding the back of the net. And you're right. Hazard is way better when he is running at players face to goal and taking them on.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get to do that as much, being really the only credible attacking threat. There are 2 rumors as of today that I think one is a little more likely than the other. But Chelsea are looking at bringing Robert Lewandowski in.
Oh,
Which
that'd be big.
Which would be pretty awesome. I think
That's a summer move, though.
that's more likely than Jamie Vardy, who is the other one.
I also
Ooh,
am
I don't
not.
know about that.
I'm not. I know Vardy still I'm not convinced that's a good answer. Like when Arsenal's after Vardy, I think a lot of
that'd
like
be a brilliant answer.
the
I disagree.
particular setup that he had for their run at Leicester opened him up to do what he did, and I just don't know if.
I think that'd be a brilliant. 'Cause you have
Let's be
Vardy,
honest. He
and
would
then the
fit with-
Mahrez of Chelsea is better than what Mahrez is.
And so
That's
the hit-
Hazard. So like I think that'd be a brilliant
And
move
let's
if
be
they
honest.
can pull that off. And Vardy could leave because right now things in Leicester aren't good. Everybody wants Puyol out.
And Vardy would be sitting with Chelsea's coach in the back of the bus smoking cigarettes.
Oh, just heater after heater. Oh, yeah, he would be.
Like they would get
laying cards and just doing heater after heater.
This is why Giroud isn't good for you guys right now. He's like, who is this man? What is he wearing on the sideline? No, this is not who I play for.
He does not have any nicotine in his breath. No, he doesn't.
Giroud is like, I'm not. No, you got to look sexy. What is this man wearing on the side? What was that? A tracksuit? Is that his butt hanging out?
his
I mean,
PJs.
he's not like-
He is the Patriots coach.
Oh, it's Bill Belichick.
Yeah, he's the
of
Bill Belichick of the Premier League.
The Italian Bill Belichick.
Giroud doesn't know what to do with it. He's like, what? I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think Vardy is all that likely, to be honest.
I think if you could do it, it'd be awesome. And I think, honestly, that is possible for January because the state that Leicester's in and how much you could probably turn Vardy's eye, I think that'd be a brilliant move, and I think it's possible. Do I think it'll happen? Who knows? On the other side of this, though, Newcastle, Kieran Clark scored. He's their joint leading goal scorer with 3 on the year. He's a center back, folks.
Yep.
That's not good.
That's relegation.
Rondon.
That's really bad.
Like you gotta, and Zonzi Perez. Like you got, wow. If you're gonna have any chance of survival, you have to start to put in goals here. And I think Newcastle can do it, but they gotta start doing it fast, and they cannot rely on their center backs to do it. That's how they're gonna turn this around. And I think they do survive. Not sure how, but I do think they do.
I think their Newcastle's midfield has let them down time after time after time. No one's getting
after time.
and no one's getting Rondon the ball to
Yeah, he's not getting any service.
To let him even have a credible shot on goal on a regular basis. And I really just place most of the issues for Newcastle squarely in the midfield.
Yeah, it's tough. They got 2 young kids in there, and Hayden and Longstaff, which is a great name.
We need him to score so we can get some good headlines going.
I could come up with good headlines for Longstaff.
Oh, yeah, like what?
Well, they got to score first.
Bend over and I'll show you.
Whoa.
How dare you?
I wasn't talking to you. God. I love that we quote that all year long.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Christmas Week. And it's bad at this time of year because we've all seen it again recently, so it's all sitting in the back of the head still.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to keep us moving along, Chelsea still have some attacking woes. They need to figure it out. But they're still sitting nicely in fourth with Arsenal at 41 points behind them and Manchester United at 41 points behind them. 6 point difference between Chelsea and the fifth and sixth place, and only 1 point out of third place Tottenham. So
I hope Tottenham in a moment.
Yeah, I hope Chelsea can figure some stuff out. And in this winter transfer, we get a little striker action and kind of propel ourselves a little more upward, because I don't know many Chelsea fans that were like, oh, yeah, that was easy. That was going to be a big win, easy win. When it was 1-1, we were both, I was sweating it. Are we really going to lose to Newcastle or draw with Newcastle? So if any Chelsea fan isn't telling you that this was a hard fought win, they're totally lying to you.
This rounds us out. Well, not rounds us out, but moves on to Everton and Bournemouth.
Good win for
This
Everton.
is a good win for Everton, yeah.
Really
They're at
good
home.
win.
They win 2-0. And Bournemouth really hurt without Callum Wilson.
Who's rumored to be moving.
He's a rumor to Chelsea. That's a rumor that's floating around.
I don't know that.
I like that one as much as I do Vardy, but
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. But also, he's never had. I don't think he's ever had a team that was as talented as Chelsea is surrounding him. So
I think
who
Callum
knows?
Wilson at Chelsea would destroy. I think he'd be better than Jamie Vardy. I think he's more creative.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you on the
With what
creativity
he's managed
part.
to do.
okay,
Like-
but that's not what Chelsea needs. They don't need creative. They have creative. And Eden Hazard.
Well, he's a young, healthy
somebody
guy.
that'll
They're not
put
going to
the
hire him
ball-
anyway because he's not going to back of the bus and smoke cigarettes with
Right.
the coach.
Correct.
That's not happening. But this was a good win for Everton.
Very good win for Everton.
I think they do. I disagree with you, Ferris. They do need creativity. And the reason is Chelsea has pinned their hopes on Eden Hazard solely for too long. So if someone could help take some pressure off of Hazard, he would be a scoring machine. But right now, you know that if you put two people on Hazard and you stand him up, he's not going anywhere.
Right. So if you're a center back, who's going to be more of a threat to you? Or who are you going to perceive to be more of a threat? Vardy or Wilson?
I don't know. Well, as a center back, you know you're not going to get overlapping runs from Vardy. You're going to get the straight charge. And if you can put a body on him, he's not going to be all that effective because he isn't that creative, nor does he do link-up play very well. So that's an easy one for you to defend. Callum Wilson, on the other hand, is much more creative and link-up play. So if you were to put him up there, you're going to draw defenders left and right away from Callum Wilson. And that allows the Williams, the Pedros, the Hazards to open up scoring lanes and knock it in.
But you're the job for whoever's coming in is not to open up scoring lanes for them. The job for who's coming into Chelsea is to put the ball in the back of the net because they don't have anybody that can do that.
It's both.
So you don't need the false number 9 center attacking midfielder that's going to create and open up space. You need somebody that can put the ball in the back of the net on the other side of that. They don't have anybody that can do that. Vardy has shown he can do that consistently, not been injured. And on the other side of a Mahrez pass or a Conte pass or Danny Drinkwater pass can put the ball in the back of the net. He's shown he can do that. He was a leading goal scorer in England 2 years ago. As much as I love Callum, he hasn't done that. He also goes out every 5th game because he's hurt. So I think...
Yeah, I agree with you on the injury front.
Chelsea wants somebody that's going to pose a threat, but also put the ball in the back of the net on the other side of those creative plays from Hazard or Willian or whoever on a reliable basis. Morata's not doing that at the current time. Giroud's not doing it at the current time. Vardy, I think, could do that for them. I don't think he's a long term, but I think he could get them through to the end of the year and keep them in the top 4.
Just don't take. I don't know. I can't. When Arsenal was trying to go after him, I didn't want that at all because I thought this is a thing that is only happening with the flat. Like lightning ain't gonna strike twice. He had the right setup.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I don't know, man.
But look, okay, but why wouldn't you also bring him into Chelsea? Look who else is also there with him.
Well, that's fair enough.
Conte.
Yeah.
And that was a big part of what made Leicester.
Right. And look at, I mean, with the exception of Drinkwater, which he's probably not being played at Chelsea as much as he should be. Mara's doing great. Conte ended up being, he won Player of the Year that following year. Like,
yeah.
I think it's Vardy's time to jump ship here. And I think Chelsea should open him with arms wide open.
It's arms wide open.
Thank you, Creed.
You're welcome. I really thought someone else was going to do that first.
I don't have the voice for that kind of
He didn't either.
Touche. We didn't plan that ahead of time. That's just Blake.
I'll sing everything like this. You don't have to sing.
What was that guy's name?
I don't know. Like Grumble Bunny. Like he just
Scott something. Was it Scott something? Why does Scott sound familiar?
I think you're right. I just know this is what it did. He liked Eddie Vedder, but like the worst parts of Eddie Vedder.
That's brilliant.
Bournemouth got to get some wins here. Remember, they were all the way up to what? The 7th, 8th, not too long ago? Scott Stapp. There you go. I was close. Samsonite, way off. Bournemouth down to 12th now. And while not in the relegation battle per se, if they're not careful here and they start to slip more, they could find themselves in that battle. So they need to get a couple of wins here. Not the best run that they've had in the past few games. So they got to turn it around. The next few matches, I think they probably can turn it around. I think it's favorable in their favor here because they have West Ham, Chelsea, Cardiff, Liverpool. I take that back. Not the most favorable runs. I thought they had a much more favorable than that. They could probably get something against West Ham. Might be able to get something against Chelsea. Cardiff, they should. Liverpool, they always play Liverpool tough, though.
Yeah, they do.
That's true.
So we'll see, but they do need to get some wins. And I'm mistaken. They don't have a good run here in the next little bit.
Well, I don't think I'm watching them because you're right. They could be teetering, but they're also that team that is really hard to just predict because they will win 2 or 3 in a row out of nowhere that they had no business winning,
and have 2 that they're down by 2 goals
right.
and turn around and draw a win at the very end. Yeah. No, I don't think they're going to be in a relegation.
No,
fight,
I don't think so either. But they have to be careful.
I think Eddie Howe and them have to make the proper moves, and they've made some good ones like Ake and everybody else who've got a couple of good moves, and they're this year's Burnley or Everton or whatever we were saying. But you know what I mean? Like they've got potential, but they got to make those moves. You know?
Yeah, I agree. The next few up for Everton, they've got a tough schedule coming up, so this could be interesting. They're going to play Southampton, Huddersfield, which they'll probably take. I think the next 2 games are going to be a good challenge for them at Wolverhampton and Watford. Those are going to be.
I think that'll say a lot.
Those will
about
be
all 3 of those teams.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's.
And then they play Man City on the 23rd of February. We kind of know how that one's going to go.
Speaking of knowing how things are going to go, at least this was my feeling, at home, still at their not stadium, not at the new Whitehall Lane, we have Tottenham hosting Manchester United, who since, and look, everybody else started doing this on Twitter, but I think I said it first on our episode, Schmiegel, Mr. Andy Serkis himself, now coaching Manchester United. I knew Man United had this game. I did not question this at all.
I wanted to watch the first 10 minutes because a Tottenham team that comes out very energetic, very excited to play, generally has a really decent game. And Tottenham came out on the heels and they had a good, I don't know, nervy 5 minutes or so. A little ways into this, there was a goal by Harry Kane that was ruled off, and so called back. After that, completely flat.
Well, and to
was
be
offsides.
fair,
Like
he was.
fully off.
there were other opportunities, but De Gea had a great.
Yeah.
in the second half.
Second, yeah.
Yeah, in the second half, Tottenham poured it on at the last part of this. I would say last 15.
But it was like
But they couldn't buy a
it's
goal.
like the end of every Tottenham season.
Yeah.
Poured it on the last minute, too late.
Well, I thought the game plan from United was strong, and they came out and they clearly had a.
So you still want Pochettino, or would you rather keep Ola Shungamala? How do you say it?
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yes. With a side of hoodle noodle. What was the other guy?
Hasenhüttl.
Hasenhüttl.
Here, you know,
And I'll take a glass of Pochettino, please. It all sounds like something.
I'll take the 73, Pochettino.
the vintage Solskjaer.
I'm being dead serious.
No, well,
he keeps winning.
I don't
Let's
know.
just say.
I don't know. Yes,
He keeps
if
winning.
he gets us,
They go for a good run against Chelsea for that fourth slot.
if he gets us back into the top four and
You keep him, right?
he definitely poses an argument. Yes, absolutely.
He also
and if he
came-
stays, that's fine.
I like him. But we.
Does he want to
Here's
stay?
the thing.
He wants to go back to Norway.
But what I like, what we haven't done thus far, is we're not overly reactional in the moment. We're not going to come out tomorrow and say, you have the full-time job. Let's wait and see how it plays.
It's already been settled. You're here through the end of the year.
That's unlike what a lot of teams do right now, or even what social media and pundits and whatnot. Oh, he's won 6 games in a row. He should be the next manager. Well, hold on here. It's a lot easier coming into a job knowing that you're just there for 6 months. You can tell the team, have fun. It's a little bit easier to do that, opposed to going in and saying, you now have to have a 5-year plan. You don't have to develop young talent. You don't have to continue to get wins. You have to get us in the top 4 every single year. You have to do this. You have to do that.
Yeah,
that's
much
in the
less to focus
expectation.
on.
Correct. So let's wait and see how it goes. If he does become the next United full-time boss, that he will get it because he's earned it, and he does have.
I think he's on the path to earning it right now.
He's
though.
on the path, but we don't know yet. He could also be coming in to help show whatever the next manager is going to be. You have talent here. You have players here that can play. Here's what's on show. I'm gonna help show other managers throughout the world. This is what United can have. So come here.
Also, not to take anything away from him, but he could only go up from where they were.
Oh, I don't know.
Correct.
Because they could have gone down, too. I mean, they were playing awful with Mourinho.
That's why I think you could have only gone up.
It could have got worse,
Yeah,
man. I think it would have gotten worse.
It
if was
could
there.
have, but not with bringing in Solskjaer. It could have gone worse if Ed Woodward and the board had brought in somebody different, and that
Or,
didn't happen.
earlier, like Ron and I were saying, why do you guys fire him now? No, you got to give the coach a chance. You got to give him a chance.
I still think that. I think that you needed to give him a chance because
If Mourinho was still there, you'd be ranked 11th.
not right now. But what I'm saying is we don't want to turn into this reactionary where we hire and fire manager after manager. Like
But that's the league now.
I
Not that
understand.
it's right, but that's the league now.
Right, that's the league. But there are ways to change that. I mean, this is a way to change that. And again, I like that they came out with a solid plan going, this highly respected, goal-scoring, fun, smiley person that put in multiple goals and scored one of the most famous goals in United's history. We're going to bring him back to get us through until the end of the year. That's like bringing back in a Giggs or somebody, that is such highly respected at that club. The mentality automatically changes because you're bringing in somebody that knows the club, that knows the tradition, that knows to attack, and he can do something completely opposite of what was going on. Go out there and say, have fun.
Reverse this
But
on
again,
you,
is
though.
that going to get you through, is that the next
But let me
4
let me
years.
reverse this, though.
5 years? That's what Pochettino can do because that's what he's shown with
hold
Tottenham.
on.
Can he?
Do you want a Pochettino? Because Pochettino has built something amazing at Spurs that somebody else needs to come in to finish it off. Because this is what they do. Great team that is inconsistent. Tottenham should have beat this Man U team as far as where Man U has come from. Not only that, Tottenham needs these points to stay in the fight. Losing this game, losing the next one they're going to lose, keeps them out of that fight. I don't know if Pochettino is the Man United answer.
Okay, but you can't sit there and say they lost us because of Pochettino. He changed his game plan in the second half, and Tottenham came out firing.
Sure.
That Ali couldn't get past De Gea, that Kane couldn't get past De Gea. Well, how about you shoot towards a corner? How about you try that? He can't coach that. He can't be out there in the field taking those shots. He put out a plan. He changed tactics at half. They came out a much better team. But what I think Pochettino could do if he comes in, and that's still, we don't know if Tottenham are even going to let him go and at what cost. Because Tottenham came out and said that Kane is, you have to give us £300 million to get Kane. So Lord only knows what the coach is going to cost. But he's shown that he can build a team and a club and get them so high up the chain on very little funds and the talent that he's been able to brought in. Ali was nothing. He was playing second division, third division football before he brought him in. Same with Kane.
You might have just answered your own question, though.
He just can't win.
But you may have just.
Okay, but hold on.
What I mean is that at Man United, you do have.
You're starting
money.
from a different platform, though.
Exactly.
Right.
Can he do that?
I think he could. I really think he could.
All I know is that right now, his team is so good and they cannot compete for the title.
Right, but if he's going
they
to...
always fall short. They stay great.
He's saying we need help also in January. He's not getting that help because there's no funds. If he was at United, he would have that. He would be able to get the one or two players in to help get across that line. And again, he can't be out there the entire time and saying, shoot the ball towards the corner or do this or do that. But he set his sides up to succeed. And he's also playing with a lot less funds here. He hasn't gone across the line because City's come in and spent £700 million for a new team, and Liverpool dropped $80 million for a keeper. He can't compete with that.
So maybe you don't spend all that money on a stadium and you spend it on buying better players.
Yeah, but he's also probably part of the reason why they're getting a new stadium. And a new stadium in some minds will help to bring in more to the club. Look at what Arsenal did. They left Highbury, moved into the Emirates, and the thought was, hey, we're going to bring in, this is now global of a team, and this is going to bring in a lot more funds. This is going to be Champions League. It's going to pay itself over 2 or 3 times. Wenger helped to build the Emirates. That's what Pochettino is doing with this.
Yeah, the problem is that Arsenal had a better look at actually winning something, whereas Tottenham gets to the proverbial edge and then slips on the banana peel.
We said it like about a third into this season that we were like, who we're not talking about enough is probably Tottenham. They're good, right? But we just keep making this assumption that they'll let it slip. They'll stay in the top 4 probably. And again, that could be some of the limitations. I don't know. I think Man U's in a weird spot in that, let's say you get it. Let's say you get into the top 4, but it's the end of the year and he's going back to Norway and you bring in Pochettino and things don't go as well. Will people be as forgiving? Whereas you stayed in 10th, muddled your way through, they'll be more forgiving to the next guy because it's going to get, like you said, can't get worse.
Right.
Well, now, whoever comes in next, if All keeps it going, then it can get worse.
Right, but we're going off of a lot of ifs and buts and possibilities and either way, we have to wait until the end of the year and decide where we want to go. Or not we. I'm not on the damn board, but
I like him.
You get what you say. Who?
Solskjaer?
Yes, I like him too. And if he stays, I have no problem with it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Yes.
Right. God bless you.
Yes, I got it.
But let's not do it after 6 games because we should not be that reactionary to it.
You stick to the
you
plan.
You don't have to.
Stick to the plan. Right.
Yeah, stick to the plan. Yeah. And you can decide what you want to do at the end of that.
Whatever you do, you stick to the plan of keeping Hey, holy Christ, did he make some saves.
They're trying to extend him now.
11 saves in the second half, most of which with his feet. And one of the things I love about it is he doesn't commit himself too early. He stays big, he stays wide, and he's more worried about stopping the ball crossing the line than making a save. there's a difference there.
Yeah.
And he knows it, and he's so concentrated on that ball. Whether he uses his feet, his hands, he is brilliant when he's on his game, and he was on his game in this. And it was a lovely first goal by United.
That Rashford goal was fantastic.
Perfect ball over the top by Pogba, just across field, beautiful, beautiful, sublime ball. And then Rashford takes one touch and then puts it the only place that he can to where he can score. And Lloris, one of the best goalkeepers in the world, a World Cup winning goalkeeper, got a slight hand to it, but just too much pace and power on the ball and put in the right spot. Lovely first goal there. And United were the better team in the first half. Tottenham, better team in the second half. We happen to have David De Gea in goal, who just was not letting anything by on the day. It was a good win. 6 in a row now. I like, even if we don't get in the top 4, I like that the momentum's changing and the feel around the club is
It's already
changing.
the conversation.
And this was what? The one game that was, okay, all of a sudden Gunnar Solskjaer, yes, he's played 4 or 5 easy teams here. This is the one test. Well, he passed the test. Now let's see what happens until the end of the year.
Tottenham's in trouble. What's the deal with Harry Kane?
He, at the very end of the game, went off with an ankle injury, I thought.
Yes. And have we gotten reports on how bad that is? I haven't really seen anything said about
I haven't seen anything either. But yes, that would be a big trouble for them, especially since Son is now going away to the
Yes, he's going to the
Asian Cup. So if they also lose Kane, him and Kane have scored an insane amount of goals every time that they've played. They have a partnership like no other.
You have Son gone, and you have Kane out for a little bit.
Oh,
that could be huge falling out of the top 4.
Who do you have coming in? Eric Lamela and Fernando Llorente?
Okazaki, right? And they put it.
Who's
Okazaki is Leicester.
Leicester, right?
I always want to put him.
So Harry Kane could be out for at least a month.
That's about as long as Son, right?
Currently, they have to wait 2 weeks for the swelling to go down before they can scan the injured ankle.
Which means what they don't even know.
Not
what they don't know.
Good.
So Son's gone. Harry Kane's gone. They're in trouble.
So Dembele, Eriksson.
So they've got 48 points.
Dembele's gone too.
Yeah.
China.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or about to be gone.
So you have 48 points at third. Chelsea has 47. I know it's Arsenal and Man U. Arsenal's slumping, but Man U's on a run. Oh, man. This is the worst time. Not that any time's good for
but
that.
this has been kind of the fear for Tottenham, and kind of going back to what we're talking, like they don't have funds to have a reserve team there, or to have not a reserve team, but have strong players coming off the bench. Like I said,
sure,
Son and Kane are out. You have Lamela and Llorente.
I will say though,
that's not going to put fear, or that's not going to produce the way that Son and Kane did.
Not making any moves in the summer is looking like a worse and worse idea.
Oh, now heck yeah, it is.
Sure,
this has been their fear all along. If one of these guys get hurt, it's problems. And right now, you said it. This is the worst time for Kane to get hurt because of what they're trying to accomplish here and trying to keep somewhat of a touching distance from Manchester City and Liverpool.
If they lose to both of them for a month, they're not.
I just don't know where the goals come from.
They're going to get lost. Yeah, they're going to get lost.
Yeah. To be honest, they come from Dele Alli or
who's probably playing like a false number 9 at that point,
or Christian Eriksen. Who else do you have? Sissoko.
He went out injured too in this game.
He was out injured. Harry Winks.
Big loss for them.
Henry Winkler plays for them. Every time I hear his name, I think of Henry Winkler.
So I don't know. I don't know who's going to come in to score for them.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. And, it may have also come at a fairly good time because if they do want to start to spend, well, you have until January 31st to spend.
It's a really good time if your name is Chelsea and Man United, though.
I'll disagree with you.
I mean, you can try and make up as much as you can.
Yep. And we're only, 1 point out.
Yeah.
2 points from overtaking them, 1 from tying them.
So should we wrap up our Premier League talk with Manchester City playing the Wolves. And the Wolves, who've been on a roll,
Today's game.
run into the wall that is Man City.
Yeah, and having a red card in the 19th minute doesn't help either.
And an own goal.
And an own goal.
3-0 they lose to Man City. Not a shocker.
The Wolves more beat themselves
Sure. Yeah.
than I think Man City beat them.
Yeah, Man City didn't look overly impressive, but Aguero came in as a sub. De Bruyne came on as a sub, so not at full tilt here. But nonetheless, 3 goals. Added that extra 2 goals away from Liverpool in terms of goal difference, and
That's going to be
City,
huge.
City did the job.
Manchester City has the goal differential over Liverpool at the moment, 42-40. So,
Which is still a crap ton of goals.
of
It's
course.
insane.
Yeah. Considering number 3 Tottenham has 24 goal differential, plus 24, and Chelsea has a plus 23. It's almost double.
Yeah, it's insane. And Wolves, when you lose to number 2 in the table, not a bad loss. Still hanging there in 11th. That's probably
Wolves are an
around
up and
where
down
they'll end
team
for the year.
Wolves are doing what they need to. They're beating the lower teams and either drawing or losing
Getting a surprise win, because remember, Wolves beat City in the first game
for the first
1-0
right.
at the Molyneux. Oh, where did they play? Wolves. Yeah,
They've beaten 2 of the top 4.
Yeah.
So
No concern there. Bali being out for the next game, next 1 or 2 games, because it was next few games, because it was a straight red, is a concern, because he's been kind of a talisman there in their back. But I think they'll be able to get through, and again, not a terrible loss for a Wolves team who are kind of, everybody thought they could be going back down, and they're up in securely in mid-table.
this leads us to
Yes, our spy James Bond moment.
espionage. What was that?
So it was an attempt to do the James Bond. But before we do, can somebody pour me another Einbecker?
Take the cap off.
Yeah, take the
Yeah,
cap
I'm gonna
off.
take the cap
But it's nice when you just fill her up and keep going. So on Thursday of this week, a really bizarre story. Not I don't know if it was too bizarre, but a Spygate-esque story came out in the English media.
Spygate, referring to that honorable team known as the New England Patriots.
Correct.
Just checking.
Hashtag Tommy. Between 2 clubs in the championship, fairly up on the table, Leeds up there in the top 3 and Derby County up in the top 6. But on Thursday, before the Leeds game, and they were getting ready to take on Derby County.
So nuts.
This is crazy. Derby County noticed a man just outside of their training ground. Derby reported it to the police as he was suspicious in nature. No arrests were made, but the man...
Oh, who's that wanker over there?
Why you got binoculars there? What you looking at? But the man was found to be a member of the coaching staff for Leeds. So then when Sky Sports went back and talked to Marcelo Bielsa, who is the Leeds manager, he came out saying this. It's true. There was someone from Leeds. The responsibility for this is me. It doesn't matter if this is legal, illegal, right, or wrong. It's enough for Frank Lampard and Derby felt it was not right to do the thing. I didn't behave well. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This was his apology.
If you call it that.
Right. I talked to Lampard, and he told me I didn't respect fair play. I have a different point of view on it, but the important thing is what Frank and Derby think. I am responsible for it because I didn't ask for permission to do it. Without trying to find a justification, I have been using this kind of practice since the qualification for the World Cup with Argentina. This is not illegal. We have been doing it publicly. We've talked about it in the press. For some people, it is the wrong thing. For others, it's not.
So more an explanation, not an apology.
Right.
Nowhere in there did he say, I'm sorry or I apologize.
No, he pretty much came out and said, we've done this before.
He was like, yeah, maybe you don't agree with it, but tough titties.
And he also admitted to doing it before their first game in the league, but doesn't think a whole lot of it. And honestly, the entire like soccer community, or at least the soccer press over in England, is kind of like split on it. This is one of those. This is kind of one of those like, okay, all teams kind of do it, but nobody really gets caught. Nobody really talks about it. Well, now this is brought to
And nobody
light.
makes such a spectacle of it by, being so obvious.
Oh yeah, and then enough so to where the police have to be called and come out again. There was no arrest made, but the FA is looking into this. But just how bizarre, right before their game, this to be occurring. And again, it's probably something that's happens a lot, but it's just one of those things where they don't get caught, and
And Leeds
don't
goes
say
on
anything.
to win the match 2-1.
Yeah, and in fairness, Frank Lampard came out and said, this had nothing to do. We played like shit, and not in those exact terms, but they did not play well. And Frank disagreed with Bielsa's thoughts on it, but respected the fact that Bielsa called him and said, or talked to him and said, "Hey, this was my view on it. It may not be yours, but I half apologize on this." And we carry on the season. Leeds is currently in first in the championship, and Derby is sixth. Leeds on 54 points, and Derby on 43 points at the moment.
So we'll have to follow this and see where it goes in the future.
See if the FA. There's a possibility the FA could be docking points here. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything that this is. If it's shown has happened before in the league that they could dock points, but I don't really think they should.
Is there a precedent?
No, that's what I don't think there is. So it'll be interesting to see what the FA does. Because if they dock points on somebody that's on first on the table, this could really hurt Leeds.
Yeah, that's true.
And right now, Leeds are playing very well, and they could be coming back up to the Premier League for the first time in a long time.
Could be. Still a bit of a season to go, especially if they
English
get docked.
espionage.
What did you just say?
English espionage.
Espionage. I didn't know what
I
that
thought he
was.
said espionage.
That's less confusing than our next subject
To a degree.
because there's been some weird stuff. It's the MLS Super
Wait a
Draft.
second. Wait.
MLS
Hold
is-
on.
okay,
Not
Hold
the
on.
draft. But the
Hold on.
Yeah, Ron, brace yourself.
Are you telling me?
The MLS.
Wait, you are telling me that the MLS is doing something that is weird and confusing? No.
Oh, it's super weird. and
no.
No, it makes sense.
We're talking about the MLS Super Draft.
Super Draft.
Different than the draft. Why can't they? This is
It's different than the expansion draft that happened earlier or later part of last year.
And I'm missing the name right now, but something occurred crazy where someone didn't enter. Someone was going to enter the Super Draft, but then they didn't enter the Super Draft
Oh, I don't
because
know. I didn't hear that story.
Atlanta 2, USL side for Atlanta, signed them as a goalkeeper to USL Pro.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
But since they signed them to the USL Pros Atlanta 2, another MLS team then declared discovery rights. So
Oh, no, I
if
didn't
they
see that.
want to pull him into their main club, they have to deal with the discovery rights that another
Oh, Jesus.
club has.
what a mess.
Isn't that? I was trying to find right now the name, but sports. Earlier today, I read the article. It was shared somewhere, but like, and yeah, of course, those comments were what Ron was like. Everybody's like, "Oh, shockers!" And
Well, all the
another,
headlines
like-
that came out that said the MLS Super Draft is an embarrassing relic. I mean, that was so. There were so many press reports just knocking the Super Draft.
Well, and it's only been the draft. It's only been around since 2000. It was a merger between what was the supplemental draft and the college draft, essentially.
right.
And it only started in 2000. Yeah, exactly in 2000. So very odd, and already not doing as well. But it has produced some very interesting players that have not necessarily stayed in the league, but have had interesting careers, such as Freddie Adu in 2004, Morris Adu in 2007, Andre Blake, who I believe is still in the league with the Philadelphia Union and was drafted by them, Kyle Larin of our Orlando City, who is now playing over in Turkey, Jack Harrison was drafted by the Chicago Fire, ended up being at NYCFC, and is now on New York FC, I think on loan somewhere, Leeds maybe. Joao Matinho, who was drafted last year by Los Angeles FC and is now with us here in Orlando. And then this year's Frankie Amaya was drafted by FC Cincinnati. So some interesting players there. Again, not all necessarily staying in the league, but from the players you're able to pick from. So those that are eligible are those from the American College Sports System. So the NCAA and NAIA are all eligible for this draft.
But isn't I don't know. I think in most American sports, the draft is a way.
Just the draft.
Yeah.
Whether you come from high school or college.
Right. It is a
Declare
way
your
for
eligibility.
To put a fine point on it. It's a way for teams to be less.
Yeah.
Right.
It's parity. That's where that comes from.
But
Right.
But the fact that the MLS pipeline now is more targeted allocation money and youth pipelines, that kind of makes the draft relatively useless.
It's why it got very little buzz. Well, I feel like too, like this go around. I mean, it is kind of, its purpose has been served. And like you said, the article said it was a relic.
Yeah.
It's something that just, as they've just changed their playoff system, it's just some things that need to go away.
And even the process for which the draft is done is weird. Like normally we think of most drafts in the States are you have, a random selection for the most part, but those that finish near the last get kind of top priority on the balls that are in the pot or whatever it is. This is just, these have like rules to it. So like any expansion club automatically gets first pick. No ifs, ands, or buts. Should there be two expansion teams, a coin toss determines who picks
wasn't that
the first in the Super Draft and who picks in the expansion draft.
Oh, wasn't that the whole reason you had the expansion draft?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If there's two expansion teams like there are this year, a coin was tossed to determine who picked first in the Super Draft and who picked first in the expansion draft. Right. Teams that did not make the playoffs are ordered by their regular season record. So we had to be up there near the top, yeah? I think we were like third. We were like third or fourth.
Something like that. Oh, we were third.
We were
right?
third, yeah. Teams that made the MLS Cup playoffs are then ordered by which round of the playoffs they are eliminated. The winners of the MLS Cup are given the last selection and the losers the penultimate selection. Remaining ties are broken by the goal differential, goals scored, goals conceded, and then the flip of a coin. So good luck figuring who the hell drafts where in the supplemental draft that has been around since 2000, because that doesn't help me at all.
And much like everything else with the NFL, the MLS, there's just not a clear path from A to B to C. You know what I mean?
Apparently there's 5 clear paths here that help describe whatever it is.
So again, to me, this goes to the, your folks like us who are trying to get more people into soccer, supporting especially your local clubs, which might be MLS. And they know drafts and things from the other leagues they follow.
Yeah.
Whether it be NBA, MLS, whatever. This is just one of those things that it's like the old playoff system. Oh, yeah, I know you understand what playoffs mean, but it's really weird and confusing and different in the MLS. Why? Well, I wish I had a good answer for you, but I don't. And that's kind of the way this is now. Like, if there are changes to be made, and it's just time to go ahead and make them. And there's too many times, there are too many articles that are easily written about the MLS going, another old Discovery rights I was talking about earlier. That's another one that's like, yeah, I discovered Wayne Rooney.
Well,
what?
And hopefully the league
those are always the best.
Oh, yeah. I discovered Wayne Rooney. Bull. Hopefully the MLS is going to kind of hear these critics and fans who are saying this is a relic, let's get rid of this, let's change this, let's do whatever with it, anything but this.
Well,
they're starting to hear that.
They listen to our pod and they changed the playoffs, so maybe they'll change more.
So hopefully that open-mindedness of, or let's kind of hear what everybody's saying and try to apply some sort of logic and some sort of resemblance of what a league should be doing that makes sense and is not confusing as hell for the fans. Hopefully they do
new
that.
Fans.
Right, because how they changed the MLS playoffs by all accounts so far was perfect. That's exactly what everybody's been calling for. So if enough people call for this to change, who knows? Maybe 2 years' time, next year, 3 years' time, 4 years, 5 years, whatever, we see them make some sort of change to this that isn't so archaic in how it's done. because we're no longer that league that we were in 2000. We've grown a lot from 2000 to 2018. And I'm sure this helped during the early 2000s, but now it just seems like, all right, well, it's still here, so let's do it to do it.
It's just that thing you always hate to hear where, well, we've always done it this way. But it is very hard when you're trying to get new people and when new eyeballs are cutting onto MLS and you're trying to explain these things to them and they're just like, I don't get it.
I like that they're pulling from, they're giving the college players within the states a chance here. That, again, that is trying to get homegrown talent. That is trying to build the game more in here. And that was really, I think it was geared towards that in the early 2000s. But now in the current soccer world, can you have them a part of being drafted? Yes. Well, and also I don't know if that's the focal point, because now there are transfer fees. We can bring in Wayne Rooney, or we can bring in Zlatan, we can bring in whoever. Who cares about the draft? We'll just bring in a DP player, or we'll bring in somebody from South America.
Well, Ron said it, targeted allocation money. That's been the bigger thing to change.
Right. So I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't have a good solution on what it is the MLS can do, but they do need to change this process somehow.
I think there's a bit of an identity crisis in the MLS. Do you want to be, you have to choose one. Do you want to be
I know exactly what you're going to say.
An American sport, or do you want to be a world sport? So right now you have some very antiquated ideas about being an American sport. And while maybe that's what got you here, you're in this time of flux. You're in this time of change. So if you don't adapt, you die.
Right. Well, and also you lose people that you are close to gaining. The second that it seems a little it's too messy, I just can't. Like Red Izzard says, when America played with the metric system, I don't want to anymore. Right? If you make it just complicated enough. Again, it is the playoff situation was a perfect example. Everybody office is trying to explain the way the playoffs work. People are like, what? We did it wrong. We tried to, do it the normal way when we did our pick'ems. Yeah. Just come on. Just get with the program.
Let me tell you how this draft goes. The expansion club gets first. And if you didn't make the playoffs, then you get draft next. And if you make the playoffs, but then you rank by goal differential, and then we flip a coin, and you might be able to pick second to last, but then it's the premature pick, and you're like, what the are you doing?
And that's not what the parity is going to come from.
You got fired up there. But I want to give the MLS credit where credit's due. I think the fact that they changed the playoff structure is great. Now they need to change everything else.
Yeah.
I think they really need to identify if they're going to play, do they want to compete on the global stage or the American stage? Pick one and go for it. But you can't have one foot on either side of this fence.
No, and that is how it is continued to feel, is that it is a we'll hedge our bets on either side, which means and what has always happened, you don't make anybody happy.
Right. You're trying to play it safe at the expense of your league.
I wish you could find that article about the discovery rights thing with that Atlanta goalkeeper.
Yeah, I haven't heard that yet.
Just looking around, but you read it and you were just like, is that true? Did that happen? Can it be that complicated with discovery rights and everything else? And
are you serious, Clark?
Yes, the fact that you can I discovered Messi. That's Orlando discovered Messi. They got rights.
But is it for Brandon Moore?
Brandon Moore, they did sign. I don't know if it's him or not, but he came from League One in England. To they sent to their Atlanta 2 squad. It was a quick glance over thing, and I
had to look it up.
I did the thing where I went to the article through Twitter, and I should have saved it to my to my Safari, so I'd be able to go back to it later. But you know what? Even if it doesn't, whatever, it still could happen. You could sign someone to your USL Pro team that instead of entering the Super Draft, then another team could claim discovery rights on them.
Right.
For the MLS, because it doesn't matter for the USL.
Weird.
So then if you went, it's insane.
Anyways, the Super Draft ended today, concluded after 4 rounds. I think it's only 4, right?
There was a lot of winners and a lot of losers.
Yep, which is going to be out of any draft you do, regardless of having to set a 5 rule.
Because the draft is useless.
But nonetheless, the draft has concluded. So head over to MLSsoccer.com.
Even
Make
your-
sure I say that. Yeah,
I just gotta be
Yeah.
Not
quiet.
ML soccer.
Right.
MLS soccer.
right.
Major
MLS
League
Soccer.
Major
MLS,
League
and then
Soccer.
soccer. You have to literally spell
soccer.com.
out soccer after the S of MLS. Anyways, go over to there to look at all of the picks from the rounds 1 through 4. And other than that, in the MLS, there's been some pretty interesting news in the past few weeks that we failed to mention. Tato Martino, formerly of Atlanta United, signed officially with the Mexican national team, which everybody kind of thought that he would.
Yeah.
Do you know who signed for Atlanta United, though?
Drum roll,
Frank
please.
DeBoer.
Frank DeBoer, formerly
Yes.
of what? A 10-game
Don't do that
run
to
at
me.
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace. Yep.
Interesting signing from Atlanta there.
Yeah.
That's
Very interesting signing.
it's going to be interesting to see how they start off the season.
From Crystal Palaces, the
And-
mighty.
And a name you probably wouldn't have thought to associate with the MLS.
Yeah.
He's an Ajax, was in the Premier League for a short period of time. And his style is similar to what Atlanta United plays, but I don't know if he's going to get the same results out of those players as Tato did.
Well, plus your Martinez gone.
Is he?
I don't know if he is officially yet.
Oh, I thought he was.
I don't
And
think
Almiron,
so.
right?
I don't think either are
I don't think they're
gone yet.
officially gone. I don't know for sure that they are. They could have been. I just don't know that they've officially been
Have to
transferred
check.
out.
Joseph Martinez still shows as being
Yeah, he's still on.
for Atlanta. I believe Almiron does as well. I think there's been a lot of rumors around them and should be because of how they played over the past few years, but I believe both are still with Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't bring that up. I think it kind of happened in between us, a bunch of craziness.
Yeah, and actually Atlanta United reported that Almiron arrived at camp. So because camp is starting to get back up and going as early March are the first games for the MLS.
After their 260-day season, they took 2 weeks off and are
Yeah.
back at it.
A little break.
Although apparently Newcastle might be in for Almiron. Should be interesting.
I don't think he's going to help him out
I
that much.
think Martinez will help him out more so than Almiron.
Yeah, probably.
Too.
But nonetheless, head over to, again, MLSsoccer.com for all of the off-season updates and news on the widely popular Super Draft.
I love they get mad if you call them the MLS, but they'll put MLS
Soccer,
soccer on there.
So great. Major League Soccer.
So important, we have to say it twice. Sunday, Major League Soccer. Pay for a seat, you'll only use the edge.
Department of Redundancy Department.
Well, I think that wraps us up, gents.
I think so.
Yeah, good beer from
Oh,
Castle Church Brewing.
So good.
Follow us on Untapped. Speaking of, we're trying to share all the stuff on Untapped. We want to follow you as well, so we can learn about awesome beers. Follow us on Twitter at Brewtiful Game. Go to the website, thebrutifulgame.com. And importantly, as we just got one of these in the other day, so we're getting out a magnet koozie out to this person soon. But if you leave a review for us on
Did
Apple
you get his
Podcasts,
name and stuff?
yep. But if you leave a review for us on Apple Podcasts or a Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts, take a screen grab of it, drop us a line through either, private message on social media, or you can email us at thebrutifulgame@gmail.com, and we will make sure to get a magnet and some koozies out to you. Thank you for our last one, which is a good review as well. Yeah, I think that's it, gents.
Alrighty.
We ready to do this?
Do you have to end on a dad joke?
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Well, we don't have to.
Let's see.
I think
Dad
we should.
jokes. I know this is a book of several, is it 200 official dad jokes? Yeah, I think it's 200. Oh, that's weird. Someone hand wrote in number 201.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, no.
What?
Oh, no.
Why is it never fun? This is weird. To hang out with Nacho Monreal.
Oh, no.
Because he's jalapeno business.
Jackass.
What a stick.
There we go. Love the beer. Cherish the game.
Jalapeno.
The Brewtiful Game.
Jerk.